Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Meta Forecast. This is the Couch TCG speaking here, and I am very happy that I am the one helping you guys figure out what you need to be playing this weekend. Alright, so right now we are still in the Stellar Crown format from October 2nd, 2024 to October 9th, 2024. So this is all the results from last weekend that'll help you determine what you want to play this weekend. And also, bear in mind, we do have Louisville Regional Championships coming up this weekend. So once again, the meta is going to change a lot as well. But for now, let's get on with the credits to this video real fast, because we are going to thank Limitless and Trainer Hill once again. Limitless helped me figure out who placed where and, what the deck lists were, while Trainer Hill was able to help me identify the percentages as well as the matchup spread. So yeah, without further ado, let's get on with the show. Alright, now it's time to get on to the forecast. We've got 7 decks ready to showcase, and our first deck that we want to showcase is Lugia V Star. So, what is special about Lugia? Well, first of all, we would like to congratulate our highest ranking player, Trailblazer. With the Late Night 209 tournament, they came first out of 254 on October 2nd, 2024. And up above in the corner, we have our highest ranking deck list, still going on strong with all the Lost Box staples like Iron Hands and Iron Bundle and Thornton. Yet again, we know all the Lost Box players moved onto here. Some notes that I have, it seems to have fallen from where it was. It was on 6th place, now it's on 7th place. And this could probably be due to the overwhelming amount of damage Pokemon can hit early on, like Palkia and Raging Bolt, as well as, Goldango coming into the mix. But that doesn't really seem to be the biggest problem, as Lugia also struggles to hit a good amount of damage early too. So it's just not taking those big gigantic monsters down as quickly as it wants to. However, it's got really, really good matchups against smaller HP decks and decks that it can, take weakness out with. Alright guys, on to the next deck, and we have got Regidrago V-Star with a win rate of 5.1%. Unfortunately, Regidrago has fallen off from this number 4th position to 6th position. However, our highest ranking player, Salty Steak, is helping out bring this deck to 2nd place out of 154 in the Redacted Crown 4 tournament on October 5th. The fall off for Regidrago is very real. This could probably be because it has a harder time setting up. It's got an awkward energy cost, and it's just the way to get it is very, very conditional. And I don't think it is keeping up with the other bigger decks out there. And, all those bigger decks are now kind of taking their, prizes very early on in the game. As you can see with the bad matchups, like Raging Bolt and Goldango, just, slapping out some energies. However, with the slower decks like Dragapult and Charizard, it's having a good time. I don't know why it's doing good against Palkia, but again, only Palkia can hit for 260 base, so... And Palkia seems to be moving away from Area 0 anyways. But, yeah, the other thing I could say about this is that with decks just becoming faster, I just don't think Regidrago's pace is, going to make it any better. And, because Reggie Drago is trying out all these things like, Hoot Hoot and Noctowl, by putting Terry Pagos in, which was also really conditional, it just seems that conditional decks are not, it just doesn't, it seems like they're slowing down quite a bit. All right, guys, with our next deck, we seem to have Dragapult EX with a win rate of 5.6%. And with Dragapult EX, unfortunately, it has also fallen from 3rd to 5th placement. But our highest ranking player, Shira, is keeping it in 1st place in the Standard Pumpko Weekly Tournament that happened in October 7th of 2024. So, for Dragapult, now that there are more single prize supporter Pokemon, just more Dusclops targets, just really waning it down. Their Dusk Noir strategy is probably not as fast as other decks' Dusk Noir strategies. And even with the damage spread, it's just too low. And as I could see with Dragapult, the deck is just got so much bloat now. It used to be so simple, but now in order to keep up, it's becoming more complicated. And Dragapult has already had some really bad consistency issues before, but now that it's got a big target on its back because it's pretty good, it has to fill in for more options. And with having a weaker attack, it's just not going to handle this meta very well. Let's just hope that it stays. Alright, with our next deck, we have 4th places, Palkia V-Star with a win rate of 6.2%. So our highest ranking player, Magneku, they won Pokemon Battle Park's 2nd placement out of 138 on October 4th, 2024. And Palkia just seems to have come out of nowhere, as it's now 4th placement, even though it wasn't even here last week, so huge jump. I think 2 reasons for this is that Greninja plus Dusk Noir accelerates this deck in the prize race, because now you could just grab 3 prizes in 1 turn and then skip out a turn and then catch up very easily for a 2-1 prize mapping. So Palkia seems to be able to just be very fast now, and it has managed to outpace all of the other decks with all of the other gimmicks. And now Palkia can hit for really high with Dusk Noir's help without the need of Terry Pagos and the Area Zero Underpath, cluttering the deck and making it less consistent. So it seems that Palkia V-Star is in a very healthy position with a very even matchup spread with some of the highest decks ever. Alright, for our next deck, we have 3rd place's Charizard EX with a 7% win rate. So, the highest ranking player is 1046974243, who made 4th out of 165 at the Can Comp 7 on October 2nd, 2024. It seems that Charizard is starting to take a hit as it's fallen from 2nd to 3rd place on the scale, and Charizard just probably is having a harder time keeping up with the high damage format. So many Pokemon, can just hit for very high very quickly with either support of Dusk Noir or just having a ton of energies on board. And it is just, or in their hand, and it's just really hard to keep up with it. I mean, a Duskull or Dusk Noir can take a Charmander away just like that. And, some people are just forced to choose between their consistency option or their beat stick, and they just have to hope that they get their beat stick out and their consistency when that's just sometimes not even possible. However, Charizard's still going strong. It has a lot of even matchups with a lot of other decks, it seems that it too can use Duskull to its advantage, climbing Charizard higher than it ever can be very early on. So props to this deck for that. It's just that Charizard's been up there for so long. It's just also got a lot of targets on its back. And, the decks that are surpassing it seem to be surpassing it in ways that, don't even need niches in order to thrive. So that is the state of Charizard EX right now. All right, with the second place deck, we have Terry Pagos EX with a win rate of 8.1%. So, Terry Pagos flew out of nowhere all the way to second place. One high-ranking player named JP Sauce 03 took this deck at the late night 209 competition online and got second out of 254 on October 2nd, 2024. And it just seems like it's such a really, really good deck. This is probably the main villain when it comes to the Dusknoir arc that the Pokemon meta seems to be in. And why wouldn't it be? You can just get a lot out. I mean, with the amount of rare candies it's playing, it probably could get 2 out per turn, but it can play highly defensively while having a huge board, and it can hit high for more prizes with Dusknoir, probably being able to hit 350 if it gets the Dusknoir out. So it's just the new definition of just versatile. There's a lot more combos you can do with this, and there's a lot more variety, unlike Charizard, who's not taking advantage of its Terra typing with Briar and Area Zero as much as Terry Pagos can. And the deck seems to have an easier time searching for what it needs with Fan Rotom into Hoot Hoot into Noctowl. A lot easier. It's not relying on Pidgeot as much as the other decks are, and it doesn't need to. It gets what it wants. I think Pidgeot is more for a late game conditional kind of play. And it's just more consistent than Pidgeot with Noctowl and RNG as well. I mean, you just get 2 items. It's like Arceus V-Star every single turn. And so that's probably my reasoning as to why it's topping a lot of tournaments. And you should probably be playing this deck as well. All right, everyone. Now to our first place deck. To no one's surprise, it is Raging Bolt EX. So, our highest ranking player is Super Shocker, who won first place out of 165 at the Stellar Ditto Tournament number 2 on October 6, 2024. So, we have got a huge lead with Raging Bolt. The deck is super fast. The deck is super consistent. And nothing seems to be able to do a good enough job to slow down its pace. It seems like now that you can just play anything with Raging Bolt, whether it's Crispin or Briar or now even Pokemon Catcher again. It just seems like now that you have all the cards, there is no risk, no reward, and you can just do so much with the deck. And it's just too easy to get 2 prize supports now. Everyone needs Rotom. Everyone needs Lumineon. So you're pretty much being able to just get the 2 prizes so fast. No matter what. Very early on. And it just is able to control the board with so many gust options. And 240 is just a really awkward number. The last awkward number we had was Iron Hands with 230, but 240 seems to be a lot harder. Even with Dusknoir all around, it's not even in this deck or hurting this deck's huge potential. So if you are going to be going to League, be careful if you're playing this deck because you might have a big target on your back, or if you're going to regionals, be careful if you're playing this deck because you might have a lot of people who will tech against you. But I don't even know if that will slow down its pace, but we will have to find out. Alright, so now I want to compare both of our lists from last week and this week. Starting off with last week, as you can see, it has dramatically changed this week, as we now have Lugia, Regidrago, Dragapult in the back end, while we have two new surprising decks from Palkia and Terry Pagos at the front end, even surpassing Charizard with Terry Pagos. So here's what we know now. Dusknoir is mandatory in almost every deck. It seems to have dramatically changed the format. This has turned the meta to heavily favor two-prize decks or semi-two-prize decks like Gardevoir. They just crashed off. So they're gone. You can't even play a single-prize deck anymore. If you want a single-prize deck, you need to go to the loony bin, bro. It's a little bit goofy you're suggesting that, bro. Put that Festival Grounds deck away. It ain't getting you anywhere. Raging Bolt has a significant lead, so again, like I said before, it might have a huge target on its back, so be very careful if you're going to be playing that. And finally, it seems like the rushdown decks with a huge amount of damage and versatility are surpassing abilities or abilities of other Pokemon to help the attack. Besides Dusknoir, it just seems that now Pokemon can just hit for 330 for no reason, or can be helped to hit for 330. Damage spread doesn't seem like it's a problem anymore because single prizes are being less played, and it doesn't seem like ability attacking, is good because that has a number limit. And it just doesn't seem like any of these, conditional gimmicks are catching up. I think they're too slow to catch up to Charizard, to Terry Pagos, to Palkia, to Raging Bolt. I just think that these gimmicks are finally going out the door and being replaced with Dusknoir. And I just want to say thank you so much for watching. What do you want to see in the meta next week? Please let me know in the comments. And if you like videos like these, please give me a subscribe. So I will see you guys next week.